so you get three types of business forms, namely your sole prop, your sole proprietorship, your partnership, and then what we call our PTYs, your private companies. So your sole prop is generally for your small businessmen, i.e. your plumbers, your one-man business owners. And what they are is there's no legal requirements to register. Those business owners can literally hit the ground running and start their businesses. And it generally means that there's no separate legal entity. So they take on all the risk of that business, and their personal assets become the business assets, and the risk of the business becomes the personal risk. So a small business owner's creditworthiness affects that business creditworthiness, and vice versa. Some of the pros and cons, the pros are that there aren't any formalities needed to register the business, so there aren't any admin costs associated with it. The downfall or the disadvantage is that there isn't that legal separation between the debts of the business and the debts of a personal business owner. So it does lend itself to difficulties if the business goes into liquidation or runs into trouble, because then the business owner's assets could be attached. Okay, the partnership takes a sole prop step further. So it usually involves two or more business owners that come together with the intention of starting a business. And the sole intention behind that is for them to make a joint profit from the business. So you can have two partners, up to 20 partners, no more than 20, and there must be a partnership agreement. So one of the key elements is that there's this contractual aspect between the partners. Again, there's no separate legal juristic person. It's literally two business owners that have come together and have now wanted to run a business. The disadvantages are very similar to that of a sole prop, that debts of the partnership become debts of the individual partners. Partnerships do lend themselves to disputes between businesses. And one of the biggest disadvantages is that there's no continuity. So if one of the partners dies or leaves the partnership, that's the end of the partnership. So there's no succession, and you can't really sell on a partnership if one of the partners leaves. The advantages is that, again, no formal requirements for registration, but you do need a formal partnership agreement drafted by an attorney, which is, it's a good idea to have legal advice, because you need provision for alternative dispute resolution if things do go wrong. Your partnership agreements can be quite straightforward. So you're looking at anywhere probably between 1,000 Rand to 2,500 Rand plus VAT. So your private company really is your what we call a juristic person. And that means that individuals have come together, they're wanting to start a business, but they're going to register an entity with what we call Sub C. So that's the company's register. And they've got to formally incorporate that company. And that'll be treated as a separate entity in terms of the law. And then there's a management structure that comes with that. So it does get more complicated than your partnerships or your sole props, because you need your shareholders who have a vested interest in the company making a profit. Then you have your directors that are the decision makers, and they're the day-to-day operations and generally your employees of your company. And then it ensures that the debts of the company don't belong to that of the shareholders or the directors. And there's the aspect of the profits belong to the business, so it doesn't automatically belong to the shareholders like it would with a sole prop. Some time ago when the New Companies Act came into place in 2008, registering new companies could take up to 8 months. It was an absolute nightmare. But at the moment, you can register companies within 48 hours. You can have your new company. So what the process involves is picking a name. And the suggestion is that an entrepreneur should pick 3 names that they want to, their company to be named. We submit those to Sub C, we reserve the name, and then if the name's available, we can register the company. And that can take up to 48 to 72 hours. Yes, so there are your initial startup costs, and for a turnaround time of 48 hours, you're looking for an all-inclusive package of about 1,800 Rand plus VAT for your full company registration, and that involves your directors would have been registered as directors, your shareholders will be issued with a share certificate, and then your company will be issued with a company registration number. There are certain packages available on the market where it goes a bit further, where you can get bank accounts, you can get BEE certificates. So there's a number of packages that makes it streamlines the process for business owners. So there are costs associated with the company, one being that annually you have to submit annual returns, and usually that's the company's bookkeeper, accounting officer, and there is a small admin fee that is associated with that. It's a few £100 per year. If your annual returns are not submitted, your company will be deregistered. So it's vitally important that entrepreneurs are aware of these admin procedures that need to be adhered to on an annual basis.